Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wake Up Missoula. I'm your host, Scott Ramp. Ushering you into September 20th, 2024. We are live here in the studio, unless we're being replayed in the afternoon, in which we are not live. So, kicking things off, grants and bills and additional money towards Johnson Street Shelter to round off that 2 years of the 3 years the city plans on using that space for creating new solution and more as clients they serve are not stagnant, but always flowing in and out of the shelter as the city puts up $1,819,725 as the cap of funding for the site that the city claims will be temporary as they develop the site for future use, which the city is looking for citizen input. This is city's Midtown Master Plan from Rose Park to Reserve Street improvements. This will impact Franklin to the Fort, Missoula Fairgrounds, and a good chunk of Missoula that connects Southgate to downtown. And so far, the meeting kicks off with highlights of the new affordable housing opportunities through Villaggio and Trinity Apartments, which opened last spring. Tracy Pondorf, Community Development, talks about home and CBDG grants that impacted those neighborhoods in July of 2023.
So in program year 2023, we were awarded almost $400,000 in home and a little over $550,000 in CDBG. Now, home funds can be used for homeowner rehab, home that include home ownership and rental acquisition, preservation, housing, education and counseling, and public services.
All right, and so those are the many of the things that they invested in. Hold on a second, let me just bring up my camera. There we go. Yeah, so just a little bit of technical difficulties this morning, but let's jump right in. Hold on. Okay, cool. Let's see here. I've spoken about these grants in the Trinity and Villaggio, two large projects to supplement the over 402 new dwelling units under the affordable housing, currently holding 294 adults with 305 children and teens. These are meant for people making less than 60% of the average area income. So like anyone who's making just under $41,000 a year, which kind of sounds like most Missoulians, just so you know. I mean, for folks like myself, I got lucky when I bought it before 2020. Home Resource Council, Regional Access Mobility Project, and United Way of Missoula have been instrumental in providing services to local Missoulians and finding housing. So those are a couple of the places that if you're always struggling or having even to maybe pick up their heating bills, Homeward Human Resource Council, Regional Access Mobility Project, and United Way of Missoula, again, are great resources for a lot of people. Sam Oliver, Executive Director of Missoula Housing Authority, spoke on these grants and their impacts.
These are extremely important funds, and the work that's done by our partners at the city to administrate these grants is tremendously important at a time when funding is so short across the continuum of affordable housing. As we saw tonight, these funds can sometimes contribute to some of our large projects that helped house 1,000 of our neighbors this year. But then it also contributes to smaller projects. So again, these are very valuable funds. We thank everybody for the administration and the continued cooperation because they are oftentimes a make it or break it source for us in affordable housing.
Okay. And so, yeah, there's a lot of money going through these departments, a lot of things that are being utilized to help people. And Eric Legold, Impact Director of United Way of Missoula, talks about money that went directly to families to help keep their housing.
With the $75,000, we expended $74,999.65. Of that, it went to 42 households. If you think of the 42 households, roughly 34 were based on prevention, making sure that we keep our households in the homes before that they fall into houselessness. And then roughly the other 8 homes or households receive the funds. We could not be more grateful for the partnership and the constant support of the programs that help support us.
All right. And so like many of those programs, the United Way of Missoula also used centralized housing solution that also went into helping a lot of these places. Money through United Way is being used to keep and help people get into housing when they go into money problems, car breaks down, hospital visits, etc. Another resource through the Human Resource Council also has electricity and heating costs being covered during the winter months. Blue Heron Apartment also benefited through a lot of these programs as they were saved by the city as the owner decided to cash out and leave the residents who are disabled out to dry during the pandemic, and it was time to sell. So yeah, that's just one of the things that they did. And then as we get further into the weeds of things, some people it doesn't really hasn't really touched. And Clayton Shea, homeless individual who's spoken many times, wants the city to recognize his struggle.
What really stands out to me is that we can allocate these funds and we can make them work for a number of 1,000 people, when our point-in-time count for homelessness is 650, and we can't address it. And we're lucky. We have 80,000 people with a 650 point-in-time count. Grants Pass has 40,000 and a 2,000 point-in-time count. We don't really even have the burden yet. Maybe that is the benefit of a 10-year ratification program. It always resonates that we don't quite take enough to deal with this massive problem that we're making special presentations for. Neighborhood reports. I'll be really impressed when somebody asks for the unhoused neighborhood report.
Okay. And the unhoused neighborhood report, they usually do that quarterly as informational only, only through committee of the whole or public safety and health. As we get further into homelessness, projects like this tend to help few and not all, therefore the problems are still there, even if some of the clients are not seen as some of the individuals who take the time to speak their truth to council. So as we go further into the funding, homeless, per my last week's report, the Johnson Street Shelter and Poverello Umbrella is looking to fund 2 years of the last 2 years of the 3-year stints that the Johnson Street Shelter and the City Council have made an understanding with the community, basically being like, hey, we're going to only use the site for another 2 years or 3 years total, and then we're going to redevelop it as a phase 2 of the Railroad Park phase 1 overall project with everything. And it bears repeating for sure, but Bob Campbell, the City Council, talks frustration and more money for something that he doesn't necessarily believe in. So here's Bob Campbell, City Council.
I mentioned committee last week, including inadequate oversight of the $1.8 million in taxpayer dollars and no concrete steps to mitigate impacts to residential and commercial neighbors. Additionally, after further research, it appears to me section BA1 of the scope of work advises of the Poverello's requirement to transition 6 guests per month into temporary or permanent housing solutions, quote unquote. I have concerns about the lack of language in the agreement by which the city can enforce this clause, that in fact, this is nothing more than aspirational feel-good language that has no place in a binding contract like this. This aspiration goes up to 9 guests per month after a year. The only way I see the city can enforce this presumed requirement would be to declare the POV in default under paragraph 12 of the contract and seek to terminate the contract, which obviously is never going to happen, or impose some sort of monthly monetary penalty. I would also clarify that the term of the temporary or permanent housing solutions doesn't include incarceration at the county jail. Separately, I feel payment of the $1.8 million should be made in maximum monthly installments rather than any sorts of lump sum or money as required from the Poverello from time to time. I think this would help avoid the situation where the POV, for reasons unforeseen or otherwise, burn through the entire $1.8 million amount in, say, 10 months and then end up coming back to us for a supplemental appropriation.
All right, and to many people's, especially within the City Council, Mike Nugent City Council also chimed in as one of the people who compromised with the timeline with the Johnson Street Shelter, spoke in support of the lump sum payment for wrapping up the 2nd year of this 2-year plan.
The resolution we passed last year that I introduced to commit to starting the master planning for the future of this property this year and basically raze the property and move it out of this neighborhood within 3 years. We are doing that. The master planning, the MRA actually was at our committee last Wednesday, as you well know, but I think there's people in the audience that might deserve this update to begin that process. So I think that in the broader context of that, we are moving forward, and I agree with you wholeheartedly that this neighborhood is not, this was not the intended use of this property when the city acquired it. I think that in the broader conversation we're having right now about our parks and the impacts we're feeling on that, that if we close Johnson Street next month, that issue is only going to get worse, not better. So while I agree with the issues you outlined being concerning, and I think we need to step up enforcement and figure out ways to address those, unless we have another place to direct people to go, we aren't simply going to close Johnson Street next month and have 170 people or whatever it is just leave the community.
Okay. And so from what I've seen, what the city has done in their purpose of keeping the Johnson Street shelter alive for this next 2 years, a lot of that had to do with the fact that this city would rather spend less money being proactive than more money being reactive, in which what they did for the first closure of the Johnson Street shelter, which saw the explosion of encampments across the city, in which a lot of citizens of Missoula were very, very concerned and also very angry at the city for letting this happen. And at the same time, the city's like, hey, we asked you for money and you said no. And then it's like, I don't know what to tell you. But anyways, there's many things. And as we get further into the weeds with public comments, we have Amy Kyle, resident of the Johnson Street area. And she talks about the folks who have to deal with this on a daily basis by living proxy to the Johnson Street shelter.
This seems like a hefty price to pay for not coming to meetings, that things just get ramrodded through, and all of a sudden you have you have to be more vocal and more passionate than you wanted to be. Very simply, during COVID, we were mailed a flyer. My husband and I were like, absolutely, people should not be dying in shelters when they need space. So we approved a temporary winter shelter. Now we are here, how many years later? And nothing has come to us in that same way since then. No one has canvassed the neighborhoods. No one has said, you know, put a notice in the park, the neighbors will get it to each other. No one has taken that time or the consideration for us as residents, for our property values. 2 homeowners sold their streets, are selling their homes on Kent Avenue in this last 2-week period of time because they are so afraid of what's going to happen. That whole area surrounding this facility is low and middle income families. So I suppose if you're trying to create more affordable housing, you can do to our neighborhood what happened around the POV, and you can degrade our home values. But I think the city did not do a good enough job. Wherever you decide to go in the future, you should be, you must let everyone in a certain block radius know and come to us, because we do have empathy, we do have compassion, but sometimes you just ask too much and you surprise us with it, and we don't feel like we had a voice at all.
Okay. So the gate was open, and unfortunately, once the gate was open through getting this thing launched, it's kind of been one of those things that has been kind of back and forth for quite some time right now. Public comment was frustrated but not heartless to many of the poor residents that are living in and out of the Johnson Street neighborhoods. They are unsure about the future, and simply put, resident Lisa Thompson, resident of the area, says this.
I have been a part of that neighborhood since 1978, and I'm going to tell you I am extremely frustrated and angry with what is going on. I can't even have my grandkids play in the park anymore. We can't even access the railing park anymore, and we are all very tired and done. You need to do something about this.
All right, we got 2 public comments coming in that way, and then we got yet another public comment on this as well from Cheryl Remington, a former homeless person, spoke about the issue as a whole, and this is what she had to say.
I'm a 40-year recovering addict. The only reason I got out of that, I was homeless, was because there were programs, there were standards. I wanted to get out of solitary confinement. I had to meet a standard. You're not teaching anyone anything by throwing them in housing, but more failure. This needs to be addressed. I am one of the volunteers that was pushed out by one of your nonprofits from the Outreach Society. There's many of us because you don't want the community in there. It's a cover-up. They are fraudulent. We watch your Poverello, your inmate program, by the way, that oversees homeless, trauma to trauma, nothing but disaster. We watch these employees abuse people, abuse power. One of my folks was staying in an apartment with one of the Poverello workers. That's right. So what you're doing is it's an open drug den. Nothing is being done to prevent this in the future. There are no steps. You've taken the bottom out of all addiction and you're making it comfortable so you can collect federal funds. It's disgusting and it's inhumane.
All right. And to refute some of the claims that Cheryl mentioned about federal funding, there's absolutely no federal funding since ARPA and CARES Act sunset. Most of the money that is being provided are being provided by local taxpayers, and Mayor Andrea Davis reacts to some of those comments.
We make sure that we follow up with the Poverello Center. The other thing that I would ask members of the public, if you are concerned and wish to share your concerns or ideas with the Poverello Center, they host a monthly meeting on the second Tuesday of every month. That is a virtual meeting. You can sign up. It's via Zoom. It's from 5:30 to 6:30. Every single month, there are city staff providing updates that they may have, and importantly, from the operator of that facility, the Poverello Center. So I would encourage members to participate in that.
All right. And so that was her response to that. Yeah, and so far, the city isn't getting federal funding. Like I said before, Obama had his end homelessness in 10 years, and then by 2020, Trump did the CARES Act, Biden did ARPA, all temporary money putting into a lot of these programs and more. You know, for more information on, you know, learning more about the POV and those monthly meetings, you can go to ci.missoula.mt.us for all information that you need. The city voted to extend the Johnson Street shelter, which is slated to wrap up by 2026. At the end of the meeting, Mayor Andrea Davis brought to light the overarching effect the national narrative has on our community when legal immigrant was harassed over the weekend. And this is what she had to say.
Certain immigrants and Haitian immigrants in Ohio led to some aggressive behavior of immigrants here in our community. Those are legal immigrants. Those are folks that have come here legally through the immigration system. There are folks that are, this was a woman and her young son. And there were some aggressive comments and behaviors that made this person feel unsafe and unwelcome. And I think that's a real minority of our community. I truly believe that Missoula is different than that we are a community that welcomes folks that are from other cultures and other belief systems.
Yep. And so that was the wrap up of the city council meeting. I have more stuff from public safety and health, which has to do a lot more with the additional money for the fire department. The committee goes into the security of City Hall and City Chambers for another year with the, let's say, Black Knight security system. And with the fire department talking about their $7 million SAFER grant to hire 20 new firefighters. This was originally already slated for the fire department before they were asking for the levy for the continuation of funding these firefighters past their 3-year grant deal. And so the EMS contract for 5 years with the Missoula Emergency Service on top of that, other than they're creating more jobs and filling more positions. Gordy Hughes, Fire Chief, talks about where the money is going on top of the levy that they just passed.
But what it does is it does provide some cushion within our levy to address what we went through earlier in the budget process of items not budgeted for through the fire department's asks, mainly the mobile support team's final resting place, if you will, the place where we would like to have those folks reside. We're presented through the budget process an ask along with a maintenance facility increase. We are outgrown, and our capacities at Station 4, we were lucky enough to identify a piece of property there on site to build a larger maintenance facility and also a location to house the mobile support team. So we're hopeful that the approval will be made down the road to provide this cushion within the levy to build that facility at Station 4. So
All right, and so the thing about this is that the grant is going to be used for its intended purpose. The levy, which is another safeguard for continuation, and not to mention the more permanence of the fire folks. So essentially, they're going to be using the levy money to ask and request for additional funding for things like mobile crisis units and additional things in regards to that firehouse number 6, fire station number 6 that Gordy Hughes has been trying to work on since he started as fire chief in the 90s. Infrastructure support for locations for fire crews and mobile support team, which kind of works out of office buildings they rent, and this would provide a space and elbow room to enhance the facilities. Using some of the levy funds, the grants funds would essentially pad out the first 3 years of the 20 new firefighters in the city of Missoula. This would also go to help make the 6th fire station a closer reality as they are able to have this money. This grant was a long time coming, and Gordy talks about the money will go since the wages of 20 of these firefighters will be covered for the next 3 years.
firefighters to be fully complemented with uniforms and protective equipment cost between $15,000 and $20,000 per individual. So those cost savings could be rolled directly into those expenses. The debt reduction when we go to construct our Station 6 would potentially be lessened in terms of the bonding against the bricks and mortar for the station, which would provide some relief as well.
Great, thank you.
All right, so they got a lot of money, and they're going into this with even more money through grants. And the crazy part of this presentation was the plan around the grant money with some air of levy not passing in Gordy's mind. And now that they got that additional $7 million surplus with the $9 million levy, Gordy Hughes' legacy as fire chief will be the creation of the 6th station to supplement the needs of emergency care and services expanded as our growing population keeps growing. New hires will start training in December, early December. I think he said December 6th. And according to Hughes, firefighters will actually start on the front lines right there in March of next year. So there's a lot of interesting things happening in and around the city of Missoula as we are talking about some services that are going to be expanded for a lot of folks that are definitely going to need it. And one of the biggest things about a lot of these services in place was the fact that they were looking to shorten the time of emergency response from essentially 8 minutes to about 6 minutes, because minutes, seconds, all that kind of stuff can make all the difference. And the city of Missoula wanted to make sure that the fire crews and emergency services got to people at a time in which those minutes really make a difference. So that was one of the major pushes for this fire levy in the first place. And thus I conclude my city council report. If you want to learn more information, you can go to ci.missoula.mt.us. For engagement, you can go to engagemissoula.com, where you can ask some questions and talk about some upcoming projects and more. And so without further ado, I'm going to throw it over to some of the programs that the kids have made over the summer, not to mention some promos and other fun videos for you guys to enjoy before I jump into my other segment, Pre-Critic.
Robots fighting the evil Skellymen.
You never steal our Bubble Hill, Skellyman. I will take over the Bubble Hills. Go robots!
And cat animation drop-in workshops every Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. located in the Missoula Public Library, 455 East Main Street.
I'll get you next time, robots. Next time! Go robots!
Have you heard about this cat walking around nearby? Yeah, I saw her.
Did someone say cat?
Yeah.
Whoa, where's the cat at?
Oh, I just saw him eating some stuff out of a dumpster.
Oh no, we have to save the cat.
Meow.
Hey, we're here to save you, cat.
Meow. Yeah.
Yeah, come here. Oh, it's so cute. Ah, run away, run away!
I got it.
It's so big. That's crazy.
So I was talking to my friend over here, you know, and then this guy came over and he's like, "Is that a cat?" I was like, "Yeah, look." I tried to pet him, and then all of a sudden the cat was like, "Ah! Ah!" So then I tackled the cat, but it got out of my hands and it scratched me all over. It's pretty crazy.
I was just walking through the park like there's nothing going on. And then I saw a cat and we were just like, hey, let's rescue it. Maybe it might be like one of those cute videos on YouTube. It sure wasn't. I saw things I don't want to talk about.
So, me and my friend were just talking about this cat. It sounds like that cat has been roaming around in the neighborhood for a while, and we saw it eating in the dumpster, so we decided to try and save it, and then it just attacked us.
Do you think the cat's evil?
Probably.
Or
might even have rabies.
It's crazy.
It is.
What do you say about the next person trying to pick up a feral cat?
Probably not do it and just let it
go by itself.
Meow! Those people are crazy. They were trying to kidnap me and all that stuff. So I decided to attack him instead. I went pow, pow, pow to that girl wearing pink. So, yeah. Don't ever come near my family again.
Hey, you want to hear a joke?
I'm good.
What's the difference between a healthy book and a damaged book?
I don't know. What?
The damaged book has no spine.
Where am I about to go?
Dad Joke Wizard.
I keep on forgetting to turn up my microphone. That's my bad. I keep doing that to myself. All right, so like I said, we're going to jump right in. We're going to talk about some new movies that are coming out this weekend. It's time for Pre-Critic. Yes, Transformers 1, because you know what? Every movie needs a prequel. All right, Autobots, roll out and away from this film that tries a little too hard to reinvent the wheel by giving, hold for size, origin story of how Optimus Prime became the leader of the faction of robots, the Autobots, and Megatron, who became the leader of the evil robots to take over the planet of robots that can transform. So this movie has a caste system where the robots can transform and not transform, and then they have the powers of these ragtag group of robots who get their powers to transform and then use it for both selfish and responsible ways until the shoe drops, making this film yet another addition to the tired franchise. But hey, they thought they could do this endless reboot with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like seem to always do. So we're going to jump right on to our next movie, Never Let Go. Halle Berry is in this movie where she's like the crazy mom who's like, should you believe her? I don't know, probably. Have you ever had that parent so crazy that by the time you're about 10, you begin to challenge their authority because it's all you've ever known? There's all these types of movies that like that, and then in this case, this movie is in the backdrop of an alleged apocalypse that the mother swears by, only to have her kids tied to the house, which seems to be the home base until they stop touching and the forest takes them or something. I don't know. It seems like there's definitely some horror elements to this movie. Watch Halle Berry act her way in and out of this lipstick of a pig script in yet another one of those horror type films. It's one of those single location films that it's like, you don't need to do too much work, but if you build one set, you're pretty much set. And then we got a bunch of other movies that are coming out this weekend, kicking things off. Hold on a second. As we got, let's see. Yes, The Substance. Something about, wait, hold on a second. Wait. Okay, whatever. But this is called The Substance. It's just something about drugs and how far people will go to feel good, and all those take advantage of these people. So this is essentially the Ozempic, but evil drug that makes celebrities younger and hotter, but for only a short time. Then we got this next movie. Let's see here. No. Oops. What We Found on the Road. It's a coming-of-age story about a legal adult of 18 doing a road trip movie and meeting friends and foes along the way while learning life lessons. If you want to read Allen Ginsberg to Jack Kerouac, learning about America from coast to coast is an American tradition and tends to leave you where you started, broke but enlightened to some fact of life. Then we got A Mistake, medical drama about a doctor who doesn't doctor enough to save the lives of people that they swore to save by making a mistake. Enjoy Betrayal and another look at our overworked medical community that this movie will likely fail to change anyone or anything, since it seems to like it'll get people to go like, yeah, the system's rigged and it stinks, and then they go back to paying high cost of medical costs regardless of solving the problem. All right, I didn't mean to get so real with that last one, but we're gonna jump right into a new dubbing stuff from the 1943 movie Shadow of a Doubt. Well, when a town establishes a superstore with both groceries and all sorts of retail, there's other room for other improvements. So some places, as soon as they get to a population of 40,000 or more, I noticed that they built another one. And then a caste system comes and evolves from that, which results in the good one, the old one, and then the new one. There's so many different kinds of things there, but they both pretty much do the same thing. It's really disturbing to think about that kind of stuff. What do you think about that? All right. You seem uncomfortable by that question. Perhaps we should bring up another topic in this discussion, in this dinner? So what do you guys think? I know I laid it on pretty thick, but...
Well, I for one think that one store is too many and other local stores are going to close down. As a result from this, I think it's kind of funny that they have to build two stores that act as one kind of source place for people to go to in the first place. But that's just the economy. Hey, what are you doing over there? Quit standing over there like a weirdo and come sit with us.
Who is that?
Oh, this is old Dougie. He likes to wander into people's homes.
I smell the cooking from outside. Hi, how you doing? Yeah, they made apple pie.
Dougie, oh, how I missed you.
Oh, roast beef, I see.
Well, you're welcome to it.
How's work been treating you?
Oh, it's treating me fine, okay. I really want someone to, marry me and take care of me for the rest of my life. You know where I can find someone like that?
You're silly.
I'm serious. Fine, I'll just sit over here. So, hey, I got a proposition for you.
I do like a good proposition.
I'll give you one guess what's in this handkerchief.
Better not be a bloody nose again.
I'm a serious person with a serious proposition.
All right, Dougie, let's hear it, okay? Let's see what's in your dumb handkerchief.
Have you ever heard of bone replacement?
Is that how they make people taller?
Oh, yes, but not quite. If you look closely at this particular bone, it was used as a ritual, and it gave the person powers and abilities beyond comprehension.
Money's the only power I need.
You don't quite understand.
Dougie, I just don't understand you. Perhaps maybe you could give a presentation later in my office? Perhaps maybe we can talk about big picture stuff like, you're working for your father now, and you're going to take over his business later on. Perhaps...
I don't want to hear anything about what's going on right now. You have to trust me. I want that bone.
Don't we all? This is just another one of Dougie's get-rich-quick schemes.
He's right. What? Honey, you're just going through a phase. All the girls at the hair salon are getting bone implants. Why can't I have a bone implant? It's not fair. You guys aren't fair. Get out of here. I just don't know what the girl is even thinking.
Yeah, you're probably going to say she gets it from my side of the family.
I'll go help her.
No, son. I'm going to go handle this. I'm going to go chase her down right now. What do you think about supermarkets selling clothes now?
Let's talk about some of the things that are happening within the city of Missoula. It's time for some events that are happening in and around the city of Missoula. Kicking things off for this morning, as always, is Life Learning Center and their mini classes they provide for the local community. It's a great way for people to pay per class, and they're doing an introduction to stained glass, and they're also doing children's book illustration at 10 a.m. So there's a lot of fun things with that. They have so many classes. It is a fall season. You know, while other students and young kids are going to school, it's a great way to, if you want to pick up a skill, sign up for a class, all that kind of stuff. Missoula Butterfly House in Sectarian Open Hours, they do have a butterfly release every day at 10:30 a.m. It's a great experience for people who want to learn more about butterflies. The Insectarium is a great facility here in the city of Missoula. Ever since they upgraded and got their new location off South Avenue, right next to the Missoula Fairgrounds, it has been a great resource for a lot of people to learn more about the butterflies. And every couple weeks, the butterflies die and there's a whole new crop of butterflies. Butterflies' lifespan ain't that long. They just live long enough to breed. Birding excursions at Travelers Rest State Park. 'Tis the season for fall, moving south for the winter. Doris Sherrick, and she is going to talk about and show a birding excursion and embrace the beauty of diversity of avian friends. This event is free and open to all ages. To go down to Lolo, bring a camera and binoculars. They also have limited binoculars to borrow if needed, so come prepared. Missoula Food Bank meal distribution. This is a regular thing that they do daily at the Missoula Food Bank. Great way for people of different economic statures to get food access through federal funds. Tiny Tales is a reading activities-based program here at the Missoula Public Library. Is a great way for kids to learn and also be active at the same time. Lunch at Missoula Senior Center. This is a great way for seniors of 55 and older to get nutritious meal as prepared by chefs. I believe the plates are usually about $8 per plate. Yarns at Missoula Public Library starting at 12 noon today. Usually they have it in conjunction with watercolor, but watercolors change their time for the remaining of the season, and they're going to start that around 2 p.m. and move into the afternoon, and it's all going to be on the 4th floor of the Missoula Public Library. Also, I want to give a shout out to BASE, which is doing their All Abilities Art Club. This is at 725 West Alder Street, Suite 4 in Missoula. Great way for people in wheelchairs, mental disabilities as well, to take advantage and use BASE as a way to connect and do art. The Young Adults Writers Group, Missoula Public Library also hosts a Young Adults Writers Group every Friday at 3:30 p.m. It's a great way for kids and teens to learn to write and also get some constructive criticism along the way. And then as we jump into the evening stuff on Friday, Red Merle and the Shepherds are going to be playing country music at Imagination Brewing Company. Goose is going to be performing their second night at Kettlehouse Amphitheater at 6:30 p.m. Also, as it is coming close to the to the full moon, did you see the moon last night? It was big. It was huge. The moon was huge the other night, and we're definitely having a super moon this year. And Sacred Alley is doing a cacao ceremony, ceremony chocolate, and just pray and connect with the moon, that kind of stuff. Sorry, I don't want to get too hippie about it. I want to kind of be a little bit judgy, so I'm hiding the fact that I am kind of interested in this kind of thing. Karaoke at the Jack Saloon is going to be performing karaoke at the 7 p.m. Lindsay Lowe with Maya de Vertree is going to play some rock music at the Zootown Arts Community Center tonight at 8 p.m. Groove Lab, Pin Drops, and Suka is going to be at Monk's playing some electronic music. Cal Blank, Kate, and the Hot Shots is going to be at Sunrise Saloon playing country music. Saturday Markets and Such is going to kick things off for your Saturday morning, starting at 8 a.m. until about early afternoon, 12:30, 1 p.m. Family Fun Time. all your indoor fun at Mismo, Roots, Get Air, and YMCA, which if you haven't been to the YMCA, they're doing some major reconstruction with their facade. A lot of big things happening there at the YMCA. So a lot of great indoor fun with Roots Agri Sports Center, Mismo Gymnastics, Get Air, Trampoline Park, which used to be where the Flying Squirrel is, and Hastings as well. All this around 9, 10 a.m. roughly. English is a second language class at Missoula Public Library every Saturday at 9:30 a.m. Great way for people who are just moving to our country, immigrants and families that want to learn English as their second language, as their kids are enrolled in the school system and having a head start with learning English compared to the parents who are basically don't know any English, most of them who come here. Theater for Young Adults, Charlotte's Web. They're doing a 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. Showing at the Missoula Children's Theater for young audiences. And so it looks like this might be a weekly thing. I'm not entirely sure. It seems like this might be a 1 weekend only thing, so you want to check that out. Scavenger Hunt Challenge and Hike. The Hosten Glamping Cabins is doing a scavenger hunt starting at 10 a.m. on Saturday. Story time. This is adjacent to Tiny Tales, but this is a little bit more performance / public reading for young kids at 10:30 every Saturday at the Missoula Public Library. Community Heroes, Storytime Series, Smoke Jumpers, and S'more. The Missoula Public Library is hosting once a month Meet Some People That Keep Us Safe. This month, Missoula Smoke Jumpers are coming to the library. Meet the Smoke Jumpers, listen to a story, make a craft, and have s'more themed treats. This is at 10:30 a.m. The Smoke Jumpers are no longer a thing. That people don't actively jump into fire zones, and so a lot of times they have what they call is fire crews or hot shots to basically build borders around where the fires are and let the fires burn out. So you get a little bit of history of people who are actually crazy enough to jump into fires here at the public library starting at 10:30 a.m. on Saturday. Moon Randolph Homestead, open hours at 11 a.m. at Moon Randolph Homestead. This is a great way to learn about homesteading and Missoula's history of people just putting plots and basically being like, that's my land, and then just kind of going for it. But Moon Randolph Homestead is one of the things that the city of Missoula preserves. It's a great way to learn about it. But I'm going to speed right through the rest of these as we talk a little bit more about the recurrent event at the museum tour at the Missoula Art Museum every Saturday at 11 a.m. Hands-on science like Spectrum at the Missoula Public Library second floor. They're doing Health Week. Western Montana Genealogical Society Workday. Learn about your family ancestry at the fourth floor of the Missoula Public Library this Saturday at 12 noon. MCAT Saturday drop-ins, great way for stop animation, movie making, video editing, audio mixing, all that kind of stuff here at Missoula's MCAT Saturday drop-ins every Saturday at 1 p.m. Get Lit program series, Grow Music concert. So if you're interested in seeing a concert here at the public library at 1 p.m., it's a great way to be part of that nonprofit Grow Music concert. Montana Brewers Fall Rendezvous Brew Fest. Caras Park is giving you yet another excuse to drink outside, starting at 3 p.m. at Caras Park. Roller Derby doubleheader. Roller Derby is essentially all women's sports, where it's a full contact sport where women are on rollerblades and they hit each other and they have to pass each other to score points. Starting at 3:30 p.m., they have their Junior Hellions versus the Junior Roller Derby at 5:09. Hellgate Roller Girls will be going against Idaho at 6 p.m. on Saturday night. Over the Moon annual gala and fundraiser, Missoula Fairgrounds at 5 p.m. as well. Also, the whole Hellgate Roller Derby is usually at the fairgrounds as well. Announcing open air annual fundraising Over the Moon at 5 p.m. Missoula County Fairgrounds. They have stilt walkers, an art portal, dinner by Biga, aerialist, silent, and live auctions, and more. John Floritis is also playing at Imagination Brewing Company on Saturday at 6 p.m. Hoedown Showdown at Sunrise Saloon at 7 p.m. They're doing a dance competition at the Sunrise Saloon. Mateo Emblem album release party at the VFW. He's a rapper, type that wears white clothes when the wind blows. 7 p.m. VFW. I know Mateo Emblem. He's kind of ridiculous, but he's fun. Northern Lights Band at the Jack Saloon. Playing some country music at 7 p.m. Crystal Mountain Music Festival is going to be playing a DJ music at 5646 West Harrier Suite B. This is by Big Sky Brewing Company near the airport, and they're doing a music festival decompression party at 7 p.m. Ryan Hamilton live at Denson Theater performing comedy at 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. Theater presents an autumn opera gala at the Zootown Arts Community Center. the last show of the summer, Monks, playing some rock music for their last summer send-off. Solid State Karaoke at Westside Lanes. Lost Cause Trio at Sunrise Saloon, playing some country music. DJ Moon every Saturday at 10 p.m. at the Badlander to wrap up your Saturday. And that pretty much does it for that. Lunch service at the Paul Varela Center every day at 11:30 a.m. They also have a breakfast service 6:30, and they also have a dinner service at 5:30. Every daily for people who are just struggling to have any kind of food whatsoever, and also get in contact with some services along the way. Speed puzzling competition at DraftWorks. DraftWorks is doing a puzzle competition at 12 noon on Sunday. NAMI Walk, support mental health by supporting NAMI of Missoula at Silver Park on Sunday at 12 noon. Save Kids Fair, Oregon Park at Legends Field. So get ready to meet the safety experts and learn how to keep our little ones safe. 12 noon on Sunday. Get Lit, more of the pain savvy health literacy at Missoula Public Library at 1 p.m. on Sunday. College essay workshop at the First Presbyterian Church. It's a class at 1 p.m. on Sunday. Pain savvy walk and talk, Missoula Public Library, medical care and support for those in chronic pain. Fall equinox ceremony, ritual yoga. Lucille is going to be playing folk music at Imagination Brewing Company on Sunday at 6 p.m. Sturgill Simpson's going to be at Kettle House Amphitheater playing some country music at 6:30 p.m. on Sunday. Fall Equinox Cacao and Sound Journey at Sacred Alley at 7 p.m. Daisy Chain presents Citizen Snips. Riley, James, and Calamity Cowboy at Indie Rock Band at Zach at Sunday at 6:30 p.m. And then wrapping things up is comedy at the FW at 8 p.m. And then karaoke at Sunrise Saloon at 8:30 p.m. on Sunday. Thus wrapping up your weekend. And I'm going to wrap up a little bit early. And I wanted to thank you guys for joining me. And for Wake Up Missoula, I'm Scott Ramf. Take care, guys.